Hey guys, welcome back. Just a quick video on crafting here because so many of you have been asking for it. So, I didn't use crafting that much throughout the game. I really only used it near the end of the game, but I think at higher difficulties you probably will want to craft more items specific for what you're doing. And crafting's not that difficult at all. As for where you get your materials, I mean, I would just use the stuff that you're finding in whatever area you're leveling in at the time. And then I would save the dragon items for a little bit later, maybe level 15, level 17 plus is when I would start using dragon items in my crafting. Just because you have a finite amount of those, of that stuff, of dragon materials. And once you run out, you run out. As for getting schematics, or for merchants that sell schematics, you got one in Belrayo. I think it's these two down here. You got one in Redcliffe, up here. This merchant right here by the water. There's one in Empire du Lion. It would be this one right here, I believe. And then there's one in the Hissing Wastes, but I haven't found it. But I've been told that there's somebody in here somewhere in the west. So have fun finding that one. When you're crafting something, you generally want to try and max certain stats. I mean, I typically go for damage as best I can, just because I like doing higher DPS. So depending on your class, that'll obviously depends which stats. It will always change which stats you want to get. So for mages, I aim for magic and then willpower, or both if I can get it at a high enough amount. Rogues, dexterity, and then I also get willpower, and then warriors I would do strength and probably willpower as well. Willpower just increases your mana pool and your stamina pool as well as regeneration. So that's always handy. If you're finding that you're not having any issues with that, then you can choose something else depending on your class. But when we start looking at armors here, for instance, what we want to look at, so for mages, in order to get magic and willpower as attributes, you want to have the utility slot on the armor be cloth. If it's leather, then it'll be dexterity and cunning, and if it's strength, then it'll be, or if it's metal, it'll be strength and constitution. So, you know, strength, constitution, dexterity, and cunning are all useless for a mage. So we want to try and get something that uses a cloth utility spot. As many cloth items as available for mages, pretty much, right? And then you have your four slots. You got your masterwork option, which you can put something in to add either a unique sort of ability to it, like this one, 10% chance to inflict chain lightning at 75% weapon power, or you can use something like a dragon's tooth, which is a 40% chance to increase all stats on it by 10%. And if you're up to it, you could put this in and just keep reload, save it, make your armor, and if it doesn't go masterwork, then you can reload your game and try and do it that way if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, so for the primary slot for both weapons and armor, it's either going to be the weapon damage or the amount of armor that's on it. So obviously just go for whatever's highest. It's always going to be the dragon item. It's pretty simply always going to be the dragon item. Utility, so here you can see it adds either magic or willpower, or magic and willpower. Again, it depends on how you're feeling with your mana and your mana supply. It may be preferable to get both magic and willpower on it. And then you have a second defense spot, which you can add another one in. The defense, or sorry, what was I saying? That was utility. Now defense slots, rather, you can get resistances to damage types and heals and things like heal bonuses, things like that. So there's no real good, like, this is going to get you through the game no matter what if you go with this on your defense slot. Again, tailor to what you're going to be fighting. If you think you're going to be fighting a lot of dragons, most dragons are either going to be fire, ice, or electricity, so choose those three. I don't think there's a spirit dragon. So Yeah, we'll just toss this in for now. We'll pretend. And then there's another spot here, which we can, you know, let's say we put bear hide in our, is there great bear hide? Great bear hide. So, and we'll toss the dragon's tooth in there. And if we craft this, of course it's elf only, and I'm not an elf. So I didn't get masterwork there or anything, so it didn't increase everything by 10%. If you wanted to, you could reroll. But there you go. So that's armor. I mean, hats, again, the same thing. You want to try and aim for cloth for mages, leather for rogues, and metal for warriors. And then also, you do also have a certain items that you build will have an option to put in arms and legs. Alright, again, aim for cloth if you can, because if they do have a utility spot, like this one does not. This one doesn't have a utility spot. I guess they don't have utility spots. But yeah, that making arms, making legs, putting them into your armor just usually increases a little, will increase the amount that you can have resists for and things like that, right? Like if I put enchanter code arms, I can put this in and get more magic defense or spirit resistance or whatever, and then overall make a better armor. But just make sure that your, whatever you craft, which would be this one, make sure it has spots, right? Like if you look here, I have no idea how I would be showing you that, but if you look underneath, you can see Battle Mage coat arms and Battle Mage male legs. So if those weren't already inserted, then there would be 2 empty spots. Whereas when you look at this, there is nothing underneath that. So this doesn't, this armor that I just made doesn't have any spots for arms or legs. So if you crafted arms and legs for them, you wouldn't be able to put them in, right? So just keep an eye on that. Right here you see this Masterwork Vanguard coat. You can see empty heavy arms, empty heavy legs. So that means you can put them in there. So keep an eye on that, right? For weapon crafting, we'll just do a quick one here. Same thing for damage, you just want to get the highest amount you can. Dragon's always going to be the highest, so... but again, if you're not using Dragon, use whatever gets you a high amount of damage that you have that's easy to get, right? For the offense slot, what I usually go for, it depends on what you're playing, right? If you are playing a rogue, I mean high critical or flanking damage would probably be good. If you're playing a mage, I would also consider critical chance and critical damage, especially for Knight Enchanter. And then warrior, bleed on hit. You can decide how you want to play, honestly. There's no, this is the best. You have to do this. So we'll just toss that in for now. As for the, I probably wouldn't get barrier damage bonus, it's kind of silly. But I would also say that getting percent plus attack is always a good option if you don't really have an idea of what you want to do next, or what you want to place in there. And then again, for mages, aim for magic and willpower, right? Try and max those out as best you can, because that'll increase your damage. It won't show it on the actual DPS, but it'll increase it for the, it'll increase it overall. And then choose your, whatever you want to toss in it. There were some suggestions about, for Knight Enchanter specifically, using Fate Touched Obsidian to get 3 guard on hit, just to make yourself tankier. That would probably be the one. Or I'd also consider Fate Touch Summerstone for an extra 5% damage for each enemy in your area, because you're going to be up in their face. But for the time being, we'll just toss Dragon's Tooth and see if we get Masterwork on this one. We did not. Lovely. And then when you craft your staff, again, take a look. There it is right here. So it has an open spot for grips, blades, and runes. I still haven't put a grip on that other staff. So let's go down here, take a look. Again, if it has a utility spot like this one does, oh, it does not. Yeah, if it has a utility spot, again, aim for getting a cloth spot, because that'll be attributes that base your that are good for your ability, your class rather. It'll increase crit chance. Alright, make that. Let's do this. Heal on kill is also a good pickup. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's a good way to increase your survivability. Let's go for more percent attack. However, critical damage bonus actually. Okay, and then oh look, I'm a master builder. I don't know if that popped up there. Grip. And then there's runes. Runes, my recommendation for rune is I'd either go corrupting or I would go demon slaying as my primaries. If you can get a high level spirit, fire, frost, electricity rune, whatever, if you can get a high enough damage for it, then go ahead. But especially early on, corrupting runes I think are more useful fighting living enemies. So that would be fighting the apostates or the Templars in the hinterlands, or demon slaying obviously for closing rifts when you're ending up fighting demons. If I'm currently using dragon slaying because I was hunting dragons, but you can switch them around, you can play with them, you can replace them when they're in your item. You can't swap them out, it destroys whatever rune was in there, but you can replace them if you want. As for where to get the items to make these, you'll get them from killing enemies, is really the only true answer I can give you. I'm not sure 100% what the best place to farm them are, but you could probably find that online. What do so I made a grip, I made a blade. I think that should be okay. And you just run over here. So if you happen to have arms and legs to pop in, you can do it here. I have heavy legs, I can put in this. Sure. Alright, look, we crafted something. And you can also see what the arms and legs add here if you want to try and replace them and put something better in. But I'm not gonna get into that. Let's go down here. Grip. Toss the grip in. Toss the blade in. Or whatever the hell that was. Yeah, that was the blade. And then the rune. Cleansing, corrupting, cleansing. So you can see that even though it only does specific damage to the living, it does increase your base DPS. So just keep that in mind. Because increasing the base DPS will increase all of your damages, all of the damages that you do for everything that scales on weapon damage, right? So by having it increase its DPS only against dragons or only against living, it'll still raise it up to 100 and whatever. And then when you look at your abilities like the Spirit Blade, it does 400% weapon damage. So even if it's not against the living or not against dragons, it will still do 400% as if it were. So that's pretty handy. But there you go. That's there's a quick video on crafting. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You can play around with it as much as you want and get the results you want from it. If you want more details, you can always look online as well. There are some in-depth a little more in-depth crafting and suggestions and things like that. But I didn't want to make a 40-minute video on crafting. So there you guys go. If you have any comments, suggestions, or anything else to add, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll try and answer them or get back to them as best I can. And feel free to like and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching.